What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about if Predator Hunting Grounds can be better than Dead by Daylight. So we've made lots of Predator videos so far. You guys have seemed to continue to like them, and I really, really do appreciate your guys' support. So make sure if you guys continue to like these videos, you want to see me make more of them, make sure you are liking, make sure you guys are sharing, commenting, all that good stuff. Make sure you guys are subscribed and have that bell icon rung so you know when these Predator videos specifically go up. We're going to be ramping it up, especially with this trial happening later this month. We'll be making loads. I'll be making loads of videos. I'll be playing as much of that trial as humanly possible. And a thing that has come up in my recent discussions, you know, I've compared it personally to Friday the 13th, and that's mainly just because it's the same developer, right? And I feel like because of the kind of unsteady nature of Friday the 13th, I feel like it was easier to compare it. And we've talked about, you know, could this game actually be better or bigger than Friday the 13th? Now, that was the first video I believe I ever made about Predator. And one of the main things a lot of people said in the comments were, have you ever heard of Dead by Daylight? And the answer is yes. I probably sounded like in that video that game was like foreign to me, but I love Dead by Daylight. I've played that game for a couple of years now, for I believe like a little over maybe 2.5 years. I've been a really big fan. I've watched Omrecker play that game so much, and I think Dead by Daylight is kind of that game with the killer versus survivor kind of thing. That's the game that you kind of look at as like the role model, honestly. And I know a lot of people have compared Predator to Evolve, and we could probably talk about that in coming videos as well. I saw a lot of that in the Trials video, talking about like this is just, you know, be careful because this could just be an Evolve, and I totally agree. So let's stretch it super far first, and let's say, could it be better than like the king of all of these games? And then next video, we can talk about if it can be better than, I believe, one of the most disappointing games ever released. Dead by Daylight is a tough one. It's a tough catch because it's been around so long. It's absolutely nailed longevity, and I don't think Predator could ever match that. I guess the idea of what Dead by Daylight is does keep it around and does keep it going longer than I'd say most games could even think of, with it not being cemented to a specific killer, with it not being cemented to a specific survivor or map or any of that, right? It's constantly able to evolve, and you could add more, you could add new characters, right? You can add new maps. Now they're even doing it where they're going back into old maps and they're completely remaking them, right? Where it looks like what it would look like now, and it looks really, really good. So the longevity of that game is something that I don't think Predator could even match. But another thing that is tough to talk about, and it's something that's why I wanted to compare it to Friday the 13th, is you can fight back against Jason, right? The counselors can fight back against Jason, and in Predator, you're this fire team, and you're facing AI, which again makes it different than any of these games, right? Because Dead by Daylight, you know, you're getting the generators, you're fixing them, the killer's after you, you have to get the 5 generators, you go through the door, and that's it. I mean, that's the basic premise of that game. There's the hatch, there's a couple other things that make it a little bit, you know, deeper, I guess, but it's a pretty simplistic approach. And same thing with Friday the 13th is very easy, right? I mean, you escape or you survive, one of the two, and there's different ways of doing it. So, you know, these games aren't the deepest, and I would honestly not even expect Predator to be all that deep, right? The objectives versus these AI, I don't expect to be all that sophisticated. I really don't. The Predator jumping in, and, you know, and that being a new thing you have to deal with, obviously that's something that, you know, is important, and I think that definitely differentiates it again from these other games. So it's a little bit harder to compare because in Predator, again, you can fight back, and in fact the game, like, you will fight back. Now they are making the Predator pretty scary, pretty tough, but you can actually fight him, whereas in Dead by Daylight the whole idea is you have to just escape and run away. So to compare them is definitely tough. I guess my answer, because I think a lot of people, I think what I like about you guys, what I like about the community, is I think we're all very, very honest about this game. And that's honestly why I love covering this game too, because you could say you are like Alex, you are way too into it, you're way too pumped up, like you can tell by my voice, and I am. I am very, very excited for this game, and I even kind of recognize that I could be way too into it. I feel like I'm overhyping myself, whereas when the game comes out, it's like, ooh, slightly better than Friday the 13th, not like a game of the generation, not a game that I'll play for more than a couple. Like, it could very well be that game, but I think, again, what makes you guys awesome and the community really great is that we all kind of know that, and we're all kind of like taking a very like, hey, I'm excited, it looks good. Some people think it just looks bad, and, you know, that's totally cool. You know, I can see why people would not like a lot of different things about this game. So I totally understand. I don't, and that's okay. That's why, you know, that's why different people are able to talk, right? No harm if we don't agree on if we like this game or not. But even the people that do like this game, including myself, I think we're, again, very, very honest with ourselves of this game, that we know it could be bad, that we're going to give it a chance, but there are some things that they need to show us. So when it comes to Dead by Daylight, I feel like the answer we're all kind of thinking immediately is no. I don't think it's going to be better than Dead by Daylight. I really don't think. I guess you could ask if it's going to be like the next Dead by Daylight. I feel like it's tough because out of all of these games, is Dead by Daylight and is Friday the 13th still to this day like competing with Dead by Daylight, or is it in its own like 1v4, 1v8? Is it in its own kind of category away from Dead by Daylight? That game last year, that's also, I believe, made from the same people as Dead by Daylight. How is that compared, right? Where do you compare these games? Because yes, they're all Evolve even, right? It's the one main thing versus however many other things. They're all those ideas, but they're very different. Like Friday the 13th is very different than Dead by Daylight. That's why I believe I first played Friday the 13th. I played Friday the 13th before Dead by Daylight, and I really enjoyed it. When I got into Dead by Daylight, I would say I enjoyed Dead by Daylight way, way more. I think it's a better overall game, although the height of how awesome, and that's, I think, something to note. That honestly, maybe it took me 6 minutes to talk myself into this point, but hear me out for this. Friday the 13th, my general approach was I really loved the best moments of Friday the 13th. I think they're amazing. When I played Dead by Daylight, I think overall that game is very, very solid. It's very, very good. And I'll tell you this, I had also probably equal really high moments in Dead by Daylight. But I would say my really high moments in Friday the 13th would at least match the high moments of Dead by Daylight. Now, there's some different things, even from like a personal perspective of me, of what I was doing in my own personal life with Dead by Daylight. That's very hard to explain, that I won't. Where Dead by Daylight will always be special to me. But the most fun moments of Friday the 13th, I'd say, are pretty comparable. So I don't think it's impossible to say when we are all playing Predator, I don't think it's impossible to say, like, we may have moments in that game where we're like, yeah, you know what? I can see, if it was like this the whole time, I could see it being better than Dead by Daylight. Or like, hey, I like Dead by Daylight more overall, but there's these moments, there's these situations you can get in with Predator where it's just even better than that. I could honestly see something like that, especially because, again, Predator's in a very different mode where it's like Friday the 13th, and Friday the 13th, again, had some really great moments and some really great situations you could get into that would make that game very, very special and very, very awesome. And I think Predator could, quite truly, in my honest opinion, I think it could do it even better, because especially even moments of like feeling like you're helpless against the Predator or even fighting and beating him, I feel like you can have better moments of that, because Predator honestly seems at times more powerful than Jason, but the flip side is the fire team is also way more powerful than the counselors ever were. So I feel like we're just going to have these more epic fighting moments in Predator that we didn't get to have in Friday. Again, there'll always be something special with like the first time you kill Jason, right? With you and like a group of like 4 others, you figured it out, you knew what you needed to do, and you got him. There's something special with that, and that'll always be special because of the difficulty and because of the learning and all that stuff. But Predator will have its own moments, to be quite honest, and I think they can match it. So I don't know if it will be better than Dead by Daylight, and again, we'll say honestly, I think as a full game, Dead by Daylight's just going to be better than Predator, especially even long term, unless Predator really has some plans to like expand this game and to keep this game alive for years, something, again, Dead by Daylight has done for a very, very long time, right? I don't think it can even compare, it can't even reach the stratosphere that Dead by Daylight is in. But I do think some of the better moments that we may experience in Predator, I feel like that may match Dead by Daylight. So I don't think it's impossible. I really don't. I don't think maybe overall, but and maybe you guys don't like the whole comparing thing in general. I don't love comparing these things too, but I do think there's something to talk about, because when these games ultimately come out, those kind of conversations are going to be around, right? How does it compare to Friday the 13th? Is it a massive flop and disappointment that Evolve was? Is it like in the upper echelon of these kind of games like Dead by Daylight? So these are discussions that people are going to have, and so I think it's definitely worthy to talk about it leading into it. And again, this trial, this is going to be very, very important, because we're going to start to see these things. Like, this is going to be our first look into, okay, where are we going to start to set the bars? Are we going to automatically set the bar very, very low when the game comes out, or is it actually going to be very high? And we're going to find that out in just a few weeks. So guys, let me know in the comments below. Again, any thoughts you have on this? Do you think it can be better than Dead by Daylight? Any other videos you want me to make regarding Predator. Let me know if you guys want me to do anything, again, specific on the trial. I'm still listening to what you guys are saying in the comments. So loads more Predator videos coming, especially when that trial happens. We'll be playing it. We'll be making loads of videos. But again, let me know what you guys want to see. Make sure you guys are subscribed and have that bell icon hit so you guys know when these videos release. And we do videos just in general, non-Predator related, every single day on this channel. And so I hope to see you guys on the next one.